Okay, so let's look at example number 2. A store sold 28 pairs of cross trainers for a total of $2,220. Nike sold for $90 a pair and Adidas sold for $70 per pair. How much of each style were sold? Show your equations and show your work. Okay, so the first thing that we know is that Nike sold $90 a pair. So we could write that 90N. Now I'm using the N to represent the X, and it works out easier sometimes when you label the variables. And we also know that Adidas sold $70 per pair. So I'm going to put 70, and this time I'm going to call the Adidas, I'm going to put that in F with an A. All right, so we always write the total amount that it equals with the first equation since we're given that information. So we're going to put that there. And then we know that the store sold $28, 28 pairs of cross trainers. So for that, we're going to use the same variables, but we're going to set it equal to 28. Now, again, for these types of problems, the easiest method that I can think of is to use the substitution method. You can use the elimination method, but I'm just going with which one is easier. So again, we're going to solve for a variable. It doesn't matter which one we solve for, so I'm going to solve for n. So I get n equals negative a plus 28. So I have my equation 1 and my equation 2. So I solve for equation 2 for n. Now I'm going to go back and substitute n in place for my first equation. So that's going to be 90. And this time, instead of writing n, I'm going to replace n with negative a plus 28. Right? Everything else for my first equation, I'm going to bring down. I'm going to bring down the plus 70a, and I'm going to bring down the 2,220. Right? And I'm going to solve for a by using the distributive property. Right? So when I solve for a, I get negative 90a. When I multiply 90 times 28, that's 2,520 plus 70a equals 2,220. All right, so now I'm going to combine like terms. All right, so I'm going to add these two things together, negative 90a plus 70a. When I add those together, I get negative 20a. I'm going to bring everything else down, plus 2,520 equals 2,220. And now, as you know, the next thing we do is we subtract 2,520 from both sides of the equation. Right? And when we subtract that, we bring down the negative 20a. That cancels out. And then on this side, we're left with negative 300. And so when we divide both sides by negative 20, we get a equals 15. Now that we solve for a, we're going to go back and solve for n by looking at our equation number 2. So our equation number 2 says n plus a equals 28. I'm going to take what a equals, and I'm going to substitute that in to help me find out what n equals. Okay? So now I'm able to see what n equals. So n equals 13. So now the important thing that you have to remember to do, which is step number 3, which is label your answers. So the original question was asking how many of each style were sold. So we know that there were Adidas, there were 15 pairs, and that the Nikes had 13 pairs. So we need to label that with pairs. And then, of course, that's our final answer, so I'm circling it, but I always want to check to make sure that I solve this problem right. All right, so do not forget the check step. So we're going to check it by plugging 13 in place for N, and then for the A, we're plugging in 15, and we're solving that. And we're going to check that, and then we're also going to check the other one, and we're going to see if that's true. So 13 plus 15 equals 28, and that is correct. So that's how we know that we solved both of these problems correctly, and that's how we know what our answer is for that one.